All right, this is an honest question. I'm not just trolling Matt here, although I like to troll Matt. Matt Panger is fun to mess with, and he's such a great sport. It's like him being on our Bassmaster Opens Pick'em show is phenomenal, right? Now, I do have it, with all this stuff going on in Lake Murray and the cicada hatch, this crazy cicada hatch, and I didn't know about it. I mean, it was all brought to our attention by Matt, and I get it. It's a thing. I never doubted it. It's not a thing. If y'all don't know what I'm talking about, we were doing a Bassmaster Open Pros Pick'em, and Matt brought up this like 17-year, that it only happens like every 17 years, this like cicada hatch that's going on, and it's crazy going on. It's these weird cicadas with red eyes, and they look different than other ones, and it's whatever, right? And we got to messing with Matt. Then, let's see, this video will come out today. Yesterday, I was joking around because they postponed the Bassmaster Elites, right? Obviously due to bad weather. However, I went on there jokingly around and dropped this video. Now, I did that on social media. That was actually from a couple years ago. Obviously, those are wasps. I know what wasps are. I know what cicadas are. And by the way, if you just go on my social media and read the comments of people that actually, they think I was serious, that I was actually being attacked by cicadas, it's hilarious. It's just like, I didn't even mean to troll people. I just thought everyone would assume that like it was a joke. No. There were all kinds of people that were like, no, those are wasps. Those aren't cicadas. Cicadas can't hurt you. I was like, yeah, I know. But anyways, so that video from a couple years ago when the lake got high, like those wasps were everywhere. And as the lake dropped, man, it gets bad. It gets bad in the summertime. That's when it was. I hit one of those things. And by the way, I only got stung once. I did go in the water, and there was probably about 50 of them, and I had to like swim my boat away from it. And what's funny is if you look up there, I broke the bush off that had half the nest on it, and was still hung up on my trolling motor because I was like under the water, like holding onto the motor, like swimming away, like trying to get as far away as I could so I could at least like pick my head up to kind of like see if they were all around. Anyways, so I was like, this is gonna be hilarious, right? Like just to troll Matt some more. I did get to thinking about this, okay? I'm not totally discounting the cicada hatch. I'm not saying I believe in it. I believe that it's happening. I'm not saying that it might not be a thing. So, hear me out. Me and Ish got into this conversation about frogs, like frog fishing. And I don't believe that most bass are going after frogs when they eat your frog. I think 70% of it's like brim bed, perch stuff. And then the other part's like shad. And then bass just like to eat stuff. I mean, they don't really care what it is, and it looks good, and they go and eat it, right? They like topwater fishing. They actually like to hit stuff. This is just a little scientific thing for you. Bass like to feed up. They'd rather feed up than feed down. Yet 99% of us throw stuff that like crawls across the bottom. But, you know, God made them a certain way, right? They put the eyes on top of them, not below them. You ever seen a flounder, right? Both his eyes are on top. You can tell by the way they're designed of what they actually like to do. A fish's eyes are on top, it looks up. Its natural way to eat is moving up. I don't want to get into all that. When I look at this, like the frog, that's why I kind of came up with the pop and perch. It was never really about a frog, in my opinion. It was mainly about perch. We fish it around shad spawn, brim beds, even when we throw it around pads. Yeah, we see a frog every once in a while on pad, but you know what we listen for in pads? Brim, perch, like sucking on the pads. You hear that, like that sucking. We do it the same thing in grass mats. You see it all the time. Like it's usually a perch thing. Either way, I have seen the mayfly hatch. It's a thing. I know it's a thing. It happens around our lakes a lot of times, and it usually happens around cypress trees. Of course, the bass aren't eating mayflies. I'm not saying they're not eating them. I don't think they're feeding on them. I think they're feeding on the perch and the bluegill and the brim that eat the mayflies underneath those trees, and that brings the bass. Now, I got to witness, I've only been to a couple smallmouth lakes in my life. St. Clair, Champlain, what's the other one? St. Lawrence River, you know, I think. So I've been to the three major ones, if you want to call them major ones that, you know, get publicized the most. When I was at St. Clair during the tour, I made the top 10, so I got to fish all 4 days on tour, and there was a mayfly hatch that was unreal. Like you could look across St. Clair and you could see what looked like dirty water. It was so brown, and lines of it by the way the current is and by the way the wind, you would see lines of it where this whole one side would be mayflies and this would be clean just based on current. And it was 1,000,000%. I watched them. I watched smallmouth come up there and eat those mayflies, those dead mayflies. It was crazy. And it was, I mean, I saw it a bunch. Like you would literally, it wouldn't look like schooling because it was dead calm when it had to happen. I mean, slick, like glass. And they would barely break the surface. It almost looked like the first time I saw one, I was like, something came up and ate that. It would look like a bluegill because that's how much water was disturbed when it came up and ate. Like they didn't explode. They just went up there and just, and I was going, and then it got close enough to where I saw one, a big old smallmouth. And man, I started wrecking them. And I wrecked them for like 2 days doing that. And it was pretty cool when those smallmouth were eating those things. So I know that happens, but I'm being dead honest. I don't think a bluegill, I guess could eat a cicada, but a cicada is kind of big. So it kind of fits more to what a bass would eat, right? The size wise. I'm not saying, I know all fish would eat a cicada if given the chance, but are they really keying in on it? And then like we've had them around our house. I grew up with them. I don't ever see them on the water. I don't ever see them like ever that being a big deal. And so I just wonder if they did get on the water. One, like I don't know why they would fly on the water or near the water, and then would bass like really key in on them. I mean, I'm being dead honest. Like I don't think they would. They might, but I doubt they would. I will say this. But like I said, I've seen it. It happens a lot on Amstead, is the dragonfly. Now, you see it a lot in ponds, too. If you ever seen a bass in a pond, like late in the summer, like when it's really hot outside, like you'll see them like flip up out of a pond. And that's usually what they're doing. They're eating dragonflies. Amstead, not a lot of people know this, but on Amstead, it's crystal clear. Amstead's a lot like, it fluctuates so much that there's a lot of bushes in the water. Bushes / trees. When I say a bush, like a bush that might be like 10 foot tall. And as the water comes down, those bushes, dragonflies land on them. A lot. And like those bass will eat those dragonflies like out of a bush. We've seen it a bunch. Like it's a thing. And you can go throw a frog up next to those bushes and catch big ones. I've definitely seen it in ponds, but it's one of the only lakes I've ever seen that happen on. But it, like I said, I think it's an every year thing. Like they're used to doing that. And there's a bunch of them, and dragonflies land on water, right? You've seen them land on water. You see them land on things, bushes and things on the water's edge or in the water. So like I said, it's a thing. I just don't know if these cicadas are landing anywhere near the water for this to be a thing. And so I'm asking any of y'all around the South Carolina area or wherever this goes down, I assume it's going down somewhere in the southeast part of the region. Let me know. Like, comment on here. I guarantee you there's some other people that'd like to know, like, have you actually, some guy said, like I said, you know, one of those, my brothers, sisters, cousins, nephew saw this. Some guy said he saw one, and I don't know if he was joking, that it hit the water. He filmed it, it buzzed for a while, got to the shoreline. He goes, there were no takers, which I thought that was funny. But do you think that's a thing? Do you think that over the next couple of days, I don't know if it only happens one day or it happens for a week or how it happens, but do you think it will become a thing? Not like, I don't think it's going to be one doing that, but do you think that actually is going to happen where a couple of these bass kind of like do see this? Or do they come out of one tree and anything underneath that tree, they kind of like, it happens there? Or is it more of a thing of, does something happen that creates bluegill and stuff going on over there, and then the bass are attracted to the bluegill? However, we're right in the middle of the heron spawn. And I would think in those heron lakes, those fish care about nothing else other than heron. And it's like, they're like, yeah, big deal. Cicadas going on. We got 5 million heron trying to spawn. We're going to go eat those. But I don't know. Tell me your thoughts, guys. I want to hear. See y'all.